for you. Or really, you could just wave and raise your hands, and I'll see if I can pick up on that as an alternative. Okay, so we've got how many shareholders present, would you say? 7?
Yep.
7?
7, yes. Yeah.
So we've got 7 share members confirmed as joining over the conference. So I'm able to confirm that under Rule 23, we have a quorum. Thank goodness. This year, there's no changes to the board membership to bring to the AGM for approval, but I wanted to take the opportunity really to mark the fact that John Kinder is going to be standing down, and not at the AGM, but he's going to be standing down at the end of the calendar year. So December will be his last meeting. And I just wanted to take the opportunity to thank John for the contributions that he's made in the 6 years that he's been on the board. Enormous contribution. John has held the post of vice chair and also chair of Audit and Risk Committee. John is, all of us know, is very passionate about statistics, but that's not his only passion. You know, John is absolutely passionate about the impact that associations like Valleys to Coast can make to the communities in which they work, and in particular towards homelessness. And I know that the legacy that John will leave behind is going to be of great importance in terms of the impact that we make working with partners to alleviate homelessness within the county borough. So thank you, John, and you know, you're going to be greatly missed. John's standing down, but we welcome in his place Joe Smith, who's going to be taking over as vice chair, and also Sophie Taylor, who's going to be taking over as the chair of Audit and Risk. And I think it's sort of significant, John, that it takes 2 people to do the job that was previously undertaken by you. So anyway, thank you, John. So can I hand over briefly to Sarah then to take us through the next part of the meeting?
Thank you very much, Anthony. Prynhawn da, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to TPAPs who are with us as observers as well. So warm welcome to everyone. If I can have the next slide, please. We've received the following apologies for absence. So there are apologies from Christopher Kelly, Helen Perkins, Robert Sace, Roma Richards, Roy Richards, and Susan Rhodes. And we can also confirm that no proxies have been received. So I'm going to hand back over to Anthony at this point. On the
Sorry, Sarah, we also had apologies for Andrew Warbridge later on this afternoon, and also Stuart.
Yes, so we can report those for the record.
Okay, thank you. So the next part of the business is the approval of a couple of the meetings, and the first of those is the special general meeting, which was held on the 24th of February 2020. So for those present who've not already voted, can you please record whether you are happy to approve the minutes using the chat function? Okay, so somebody's going to add up all these for me, hopefully, and tell me how many are approving the minutes, whether we have any against, and whether we have any abstentions.
I think that's 9 approving, Anthony, including those who've already voted.
That's 9 approving. So we can say that those minutes are well and truly approved. Thank you very much. So the next item is to approve the minutes of the last AGM, the 17th AGM, which was held on the 26th of September 2019. And again, we go through the same process. For those who've not already voted, can you please record whether you're happy to approve the minutes using the chat function? Okay, all done. What's the numbers, Chris?
We have the same numbers.
Ooh. Okay, well,
9.
the minutes then are approved. Back over to you then, Sarah, for the next bit.
Thank you very much. So my favourite subject, the financial statements. So moving on to the financial statements for the year ended 31st of March, we need firstly to receive the report of our external auditor, Mazars, and also to note Valleys to Coast financial statements for the year. So it's my turn to hand over now. Welcome, Richard from Mazars. I'll leave the stage for you.
Thank you, Sarah. And I would like to say thank you also to Sarah, Claire Pressel, Claire Marshall, and their team for actually enabling this audit to happen, because obviously with COVID it's been quite hard conducting an audit without going to the premises. But we have conducted an audit. You have my audit report in the financial statements, and I'll briefly take you through it. It is 4 pages. I will not read out 4 pages, but the opinion is that I have audited the financial statements of Valleys to Coast Housing for the year ended 31st March 2020. In my opinion, the financial statements give a true and fair view of the state of the association's affairs as at 31st March and its surplus for the year then ended, have been properly prepared in accordance with UK generally accepted accounting practice, and have been prepared in accordance with the requirements of other acts, including the Cooperative and Community Benefit Societies Act. My opinion was based on international standards of auditing, and I can confirm I was independent of the association in accordance with the relevant ethical requirements. In forming my opinion, I have, which is not modified, I draw your attention to the board's views on the impact of COVID-19, which has had an impact on every housing association and just about every corporate in the country. In relation to going concern, I have reached satisfactory conclusions about going concern. I have nothing to report in respect of that. And the last bit I'd just like to say, in terms of other information for which the board is responsible, I have reviewed the board's statement on the association's compliance with the Welsh Government Circular RSL 0210. I read other information in the report, and there are no matters I need to bring to your attention, but I will welcome any questions you might have. Thank you. And back to you, Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Richard. So unless there's any further questions, I think I'm in a position to hand over to Joe. Joe, I think the stage is yours.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you all. Welcome. This is my first AGM, so I can say that this last year can only be described as unprecedented. A word that I think many of us have been hearing time again, but Valleys to Coast has been on and continues to be on a journey. And we've been focusing a lot on our core business, and like many other businesses, we've been impacted by the pandemic. But despite these challenges, I'm really proud of my colleagues and our teams and how they've worked extremely hard to do the best under these difficult circumstances. So I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank our customers for their understanding and support. So now I'd just like to showcase some of the highlights from last year through our short video.
This last year has been both a transformative and unprecedented time for Valleys to Coast. During the last year, we have been making big steps towards getting the core business right. But like many other businesses, we were also impacted by the coronavirus and had to hit the pause button. Despite these challenges, our staff have responded well and produced some great results for the business and to support our customers in Bridgend. In the last year, we invested £6.9 million on planned repairs and improvement to our homes. Our Money Matters and Welsh Water teams put £1.26 million back into the pockets of our customers. Dealing with over 3,500 referrals and even helping a 99-year-old customer reclaim £5,000 just in time to celebrate their 100th birthday. in the last year, we also bought 7 new homes off the shelf and built 33 new properties across the county ourselves, including smart new eco-homes which will guide us as we seek to lower our carbon emissions in the future. Our rent arrears remained steady at just 2.20%, and 100% of our homes had valid gas safety certificates. At the year end, over 81% of customers reported they were satisfied with our services. And all this was before the coronavirus hit us all. Since then, each day has brought a new challenge, but challenges we have met with skill and enthusiasm to help colleagues and customers.
During the month of the COVID-19 lockdown, we were able to provide emergency support to nearly 300 furloughed, self-employed, vulnerable and shielding customers to ensure that throughout the pandemic they would be financially secure.
By the end of March, we moved the entire customer service hub to home working, maintaining all our services apart from face-to-face. We kept these services going 9 till 5 every day to make sure that we could keep connected with our customers.
Despite the restrictions, we've been able to carry out close to 3,000 emergency repairs, keeping both our customers and their homes safe.
Our community housing teams adapted to new ways of working and different questions. As our day-to-day lives were flipped on their heads, our team kept theirs and went out of their way to help foster community spirit and keep in contact with our most vulnerable customers.
We have also recruited a new chief executive and already are reviewing the lessons we've learned as we've moved throughout this pandemic to make the service delivery and our services much more robust and stronger into this new year.
I can't thank you enough, both my new colleagues and customers, for the hard work, dedication and patience that you have shown in what I can only describe as challenging times. I know that when we look back, we will see this year as a defining one. We may not have always got things right, but I know we've taken the opportunity to think differently, work differently and live differently. I really am hoping that this next year will bring some normality back into our lives, and in the meantime, we are committed to continue to provide you with homes where you feel safe and happy.
Wow. And I just want to say, over the last 6 months, we've been consumed by the impact of the pandemic. And, in these unfortunate times, I think it's really important we have the chance to reflect on what has been achieved over the last 12 months. So, a big well done to all colleagues and customers and stakeholders. So just before we move on to questions and answers, there's one final formal item of business that we just need to go back to. So I'll hand back to Sarah and then we'll come back to the Q&A session. Oh, you're on mute, Sarah.
So our final item of business for the evening is to reappoint our Mazars as our external auditors for the period until the next annual general meeting. So the board of management recommend the reappointment of Mazars. For those who are present who haven't already voted, could you please put on the chat group whether you're content to approve the reappointment of them? Fantastic. I think I can work out with my mathematics. That's a similar number of yeses, and I think we can recommend that Mazars be reappointed. Bad luck, Richard, may I add on a personal note. We look forward to working with you next year. Thank you. Thanks. Shall we move back on to the question and answer session?
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. So I've got the opportunity now for questions and answers. Before I open this up to the virtual floor, I would just like to thank members who took the opportunity to submit questions in advance. So we'll just take these questions first. So we've got about 8. So if we move on to question 1. So So Values to Coast last year started consultation on bringing in an online payment system for tenants. Has this been progressed, and when can we expect to see this system in place? So if I hand over to Paul.
Thank you, Jo. So yes, the consultation, really invaluable exercise that we did. It's really important to engage with the end user, if you like, to make sure that we get the design of the application absolutely just right in terms of how it looks and how it performs. We have paused the project right now, only because we got a big piece of work that's all about refreshing our whole IT infrastructure, and that just gives us more flexibility and options about how we now develop that customer app and online offer going forward. We're just beginning to refresh now our website platform, and we hope to complete that by the end of March next year. So when those two pieces are finished, we can pick up again the customer app. So hopefully next year we'll start the design work again and look to develop something hopefully by the end of March 2022 or not long thereafter. Just to end, I guess, we have introduced various payment mechanisms now. We can still make payments on our current website, customers using their all-pay reference number. We have introduced new mechanisms like recurring card payments, text pay, and of course, direct debit. Thank you, Jo.
Okay, thank you, Paul. So next question, please. So what is your policy concerning repairs when there is a need to remove asbestos? Back to you, Paul.
Okay, thank you, Jo. So we have got an asbestos policy, which is really important. And the underlying tenet within that policy is that where asbestos is present, we want to keep it intact and leave it where it is. Asbestos is perfectly fine if it's just left completely undisturbed. There are asbestos present in some of our communal areas in our blocks of flats for where we have a rolling inspection program to make sure that is all safe and intact. So whenever we undertake repairs, we undertake an asbestos risk assessment. Our trade operatives are fully aware of the risks of asbestos and the method statements and risk assessments to undertake. Where we're also conducting a repair, it's possible we've actually already undertaken a survey of asbestos in and around the property, which we will refer to guide what we need to do next. If not, we may delay some repair work to make sure we undertake those tests first. When we have those results, then we know how to proceed and carry out repairs and operate safely within and around asbestos. If we need to remove asbestos, then we will do that in a safe way. We have specialist teams that can do that within Values to Coast, but depending on the type of asbestos or the volume of asbestos, we will also employ specialist contractors who can do the same and, more importantly, dispose of the asbestos in a safe way.
Thanks, Paul. Next question. So what are your plans for building smaller properties across the borough, e.g. one-bed bungalows and flats? Sarah?
Thank you. So developing new homes is a really exciting part of the work that Values to Coast does. And some people will be aware that it's something that our board has been looking at very recently, signing off our new development strategy and looking at all the opportunities that we have. And I think it's fair to say that we're keen to provide a wide range of homes for all sorts of people and ensure equality of access to good quality homes. And I think this is a really important issue at the moment, providing smaller properties. We recognise that we are an ageing population in the wider world and in Bridgend in particular, and needs are changing. And of course, needs are continuing to change as a result of COVID. And with that in mind, we've been recently participating in schemes to address urgent homelessness, working closely with the local authority. So we are open to building many types of home, including bungalows, where there's a need and where it's appropriate to do so, and where our funding allows. And we will be working with the communities more, I think, on our development strategy going forward to find such opportunities and work with Bridgend Council and Welsh Government as key partners in that. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Next question. We understand that some big decisions have needed to be made and quickly during the COVID-19 outbreak. But going forward, what are the plans for ensuring tenants and residents can be consulted on such decisions? So just to answer that one, so we have had to make decisions very quickly. The safety of our customers and colleagues is our priority. So our decisions have been based around following Welsh Government and Public Health Wales guidance. And as we have been thinking about reintroducing our services, we were really keen to hear from our customers. And during June, we did engage with customers via our social media channels. And this has really helped us shape our COVID recovery plan, which helps us to safely resume our services. However, we do know that we can do more with our customer engagement. And at the beginning of the year, we had conversations with the board, and the board signed off our customer engagement strategy. However, as a result of COVID, we do know now we're going to have to think very differently on how we reach out, we engage and listen with our customers and communities. So it's a little bit watch this space on this one. Thank you. Next question. As the world heads towards the use of greener travel and energy use, will Valleys to Coast consider ways it can support this, e.g. with bike sheds available at flats, more carbon efficient homes? Sarah?
Thank you. So again, this is a very big subject for us that we've been working on as an exec team and the board. Environmental considerations are incredibly important at the moment. One need only read the news to get a flavour of that. And only earlier this year, we'll have had flooding in Bridgend. So, we're very aware of the importance of this issue. Some of you will also know that the Welsh Government has declared a climate change emergency at the moment. They're asking us, all housing associations, to participate in that. They're asking us to achieve EPC A by 2030, a very high standard of efficiency for our homes, by making a very big investment in our homes. So we are taking this issue really, really seriously. And we're also working on our environmental accreditation called Green Dragon, which will really help us identify how we can improve our footprint going forward. It's also a very big subject at the moment to the board, and how we take forward those huge challenges and opportunities presented by achieving EPC A, and how we retrofit, how we change our homes. I think it's also worth noting that we won't be doing this on our own. We will need help and support and advice from other organisations that are out there, and it'll be a huge contribution to be made by our communities and help us change behaviours, so that we as a society can be much more aware of how to live an environmental life. And finally, of course, we'll be working with Welsh Government on an ongoing basis to ensure we achieve just more than compliance, but truly create a greener world. So watch this space. I think it's a really good question, and there's going to be more in this agenda. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Next question. How is housing allocated to new tenants, and is there consideration given to housing those who have extra needs or a history of antisocial behaviour? Paul?
Thank you, Jo. So I'm going to start with section 62 of the Housing Act 2014, and that places a duty on the local authority to assess someone who's presenting as homeless. And if the local authority determines that someone is indeed homeless, they're then entered onto the Common Housing Register. So the local authority will also then assess their need and their priority, and they will match those people to available social rent homes. And across the borough, Valleys to Coast is the biggest social landlord to provide homes, but so too homes could be offered by Hafod, Link Cymru and Wales to West. And if a nomination comes through to one of our properties, we will meet with those potential tenants and we'll help understand their needs, their requirements, what support they have, what support they need. We may well signpost and introduce our partners to work with those customers to help ensure that they can succeed in their tenancy. The final part of the question, I guess, a history of ASB itself is not a reason to not house somebody. I think it's important that we do understand it, and where there is a history, we understand that we work with those tenants to ensure they have the support in place so they can maintain those tenancies successfully. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Paul. Next question. Will service charges be adjusted as a result of restricted services in some areas due to COVID-19? Sarah.
Thank you. Okay, so service charges, the amounts we charge tenants for extra services such as lighting in communal areas, for example. So how we do this is set out in our leases. And it was an area which can be, it is an area which can be complex, and it was an area we were already looking at, but has become, I know, a particular concern, I know, since COVID, and it's something we'll give particular consideration to. So we'll be reviewing what this means for customers as part of our setting process coming up for next year. We're fortunate we do not have lots of high-rise blocks where high service charges is an issue, but we do know it is a really important one. Some of our costs are fixed in nature, and some of the services won't have changed as a result of COVID. But we will be looking at everything incredibly carefully, but we do recognise that many of our service charges are already at a low level. So we would like to reassure you as well, we will be looking particularly carefully at affordability this year. We know it's something the board wants to give particular close attention to, and we do recognise that it will be something we'll need to pay very close attention to in the coming months. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Thank you. Your repairs have been emergency only since the start of COVID-19. When can we expect a return to full service? So, as just previously mentioned, we did engage with our customers to help inform our COVID recovery plan, and to do this in a safe and staged way, which will allow us to bring our services back into operation. And we're working towards the 5th of October. I wrote to all customers this week outlining our plans and timelines, also including our response to local lockdown measures. We are continuing to monitor the situation, and should advice change the impact on our services, we will keep our customers updated. So that's the final set of questions for the presentation. We did receive some very specific questions, and we are committed to responding to all individuals who raise those questions. So before I pass back to Anthony, I just want to open up to see if there are any questions from the virtual room.
Hello, can I ask a question, please?
Of course.
Regarding question 1 to Paul, what was the date he gave about having the setup for payments? Did you say March 21 or 22?
Sorry, yeah, Terry, it was March 22. So the work will start again from March, end of March 21, and pick up with the consultation work that we did to actually look to build the customer app then effectively. But we haven't planned yet how long that would take to actually get out there and implement. So it could happen later on that same financial year. So by the end of March 2022, but it could spill beyond that if it's not quite ready.
And did you say there's other ways we can look at rent online?
No, not actually looking at rent, only to pay the rent. Yeah. So no access to statements or things like that, Terry, at the moment, I'm afraid.
That's on your website, is it?
Yeah, just to make payments. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions? No. If not, I'll pass back to Anthony.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks very much. So it just leaves me now to thank you all for attending. It's been a very interesting AGM, I have to say. I particularly enjoyed the video of the year. I thought that was really well done, and also having the the option for questions at the end. I think that's been great. So thanks for all attending, and I would say I wish you a safe journey home, but that's where you already are. So thanks a lot. See you again soon. Bye.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thanks, Anthony.
Bye.
Thanks very much.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Nice to see you. Thanks for making the effort.